Heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Plus Platoon. My name is Derek, and I'm one of the members. Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed so you will never miss a moment. Now, one person does not a platoon make. So I would like to bring in the great Kate Weathermish. Oh, wait, what? Huh? What? Oh, sorry. It's Kate. Kate, how are you doing this evening?
I'll take the great Kate Weather Machine. I'm excited to talk about her tonight. I'm doing great, Derek. How are you?
Doing very, very well. School's getting ready to go, but, you know, things are getting... Yep. It's that time of year again.
It's that time.
Next, want to bring in Pete. Pete, how you doing this evening?
I am doing really, really well. I am happy to be here with the gang as usual. And I added my Space Mountain poster to the wall.
Yay!
That's People Mover.
Well, but it says Space Mountain.
It does say space. Okay, yeah. And fresh back from her horrible, terrible sojourn to Hawaii, Sam, how are you doing this evening?
Aloha, everyone. Happy Platoons Day. I'm very happy to be here. I'm not happy to be back from Aulani, but I'm happy to be here with you all.
Good. Now, if we could get you guys to like, subscribe, and share. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. We are Plus Platoon. And we always start our show with the news. Kate, what's the news this week?
I am ready, everybody. It is time for your Disney Plus news. First of all, we have Marvel's What If premieres this week, and it explores how the MCU stories would have been different if certain things had been changed, which I'm super, super intrigued about. Next, Star Wars Bad Batch finale releases on Friday, and I feel like I'm going to mispronounce this because I'm not great with words. Doogie Kamehameha, I believe is how you say it. MD begins September 8th. It's basically a reboot of Doogie Howser series. So super, super excited. And last but certainly not least, Muppet Haunted Mansion will come out on October 1st. I am ridiculously excited about that. Back to you, Derek.
Oh my God, love it. Yeah. Derek's on mute.
I'm on mute. The pictures of Kermit as Piggy and Piggy as Kermit that they released.
Too good.
If that sets the tone, it's going to be a good time.
You gotta just love the Muppets. I can't even. I'm so excited. I'm not really that excited about the new Doogie Howser version. Although I'm happy that they're rebooting it with a female character and that it's going to be a Hawaiian character. That's kind of fun. But yeah, Muppet sounds way better.
Yeah. We have Ed joining us tonight. It's the awesome, not placid, more than platonic Platoonsters.
Yay!
Ed, I've missed you.
Yeah. And
good to have Ed back.
Dan's back. Dan, hi
hey,
everyone.
Dan.
Excited for the Marvel series and a big fan of the Muppets, so that'll be great. Yeah.
Yay, Dan.
Looking forward to the stuff that's coming out. So this week, we are continuing our park series with the Behind the Track attraction for Space Mountain. Now, the question I have for you, Sam, was the show worth the trip?
Okay, so this episode, I'm going to say yes. I was not a fan of the first two episodes. I'll confess, I did not watch episodes 3 and 4 that were Star Tours and Tower of Terror. But this episode about Space Mountain, I thought was excellent. I really enjoyed how they took us all around the world to the different Space Mountain rides across the different Disney parks. I especially loved our trip over to, I think it was Shanghai Disney, where we got to see the Tron version of the ride. So it's quite different. The setup for the ride vehicles is really different. But this to me was a good behind the scenes look, much better and much more interesting than the first 2 episodes, which were Haunted Mansion. And I can't remember what the second one was.
Jungle
That's how
Cruise.
good it was. Jungle Cruise. Thank you. Yeah. What about you, Derek?
I would agree that it's better than the first 2. I would put this in 3rd place of the 5 episodes that have been released so far. This was the show I wanted. I wanted to see all the different space mountains from around the world. I would have loved to hear him talk more about the development of the one in Paris. I with the Jules Verne, that they don't actually shoot you out of the cannon anymore.
Oh, really?
That didn't last very long. And Dan agrees, Paris being shot out of the cannon was pretty cool. It was when it lasted. Now, you still look like you're going out of the cannon, but the whole cannon recoil and smoke coming out doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, interesting.
I thought, I will disagree with you, Sam. I thought including Tron as a space mountain was completely out of place. It's not a space mountain. It is Tron, because they're building if that was true, they would be building Space Mountain 2 at the Magic Kingdom. They're not. They're building Tron. So
that's a fair criticism. I kind of looked at it more as, because Space Mountain wasn't going to fit exactly, they needed to rejigger it, and so this was what they sort of had come up with. I agree, it's not exactly Space Mountain. It's not really Space Mountain, but I liked what they showed.
Okay, Kate, what do you think?
Yeah, this was not my favorite. Tower of Terror was my favorite of all of them. Haunted Mansion pulled a close second, just because I like the stories of those rides. This was the 3rd for me. I think, Derek, is that what you said? Did you say yours was 3rd?
Yep.
Yeah, this was 3rd for me. I really liked seeing how each park, while it's the same, you're riding in the dark and you're in space, they're all kind of different. Like, watching this and sitting with my friend who knows Disneyland really well, he was like, "Oh my gosh, your Space Mountain is
2 tracks,
like, straight on, and his was 2." And he was like, "But what about?" And so just getting to experience, because I think I've done Space Mountain 1 time at Disneyland. I need to go back.
Right, the single person car versus, person in a row versus 2 people side by side.
Yeah,
right.
It's very different. Yeah,
it's
very different.
So it's I liked it. I was most intrigued with how they interpreted it in different parts, and how they would change it to be like hyperspace and be the Star Wars theme or whatever. Or I know sometimes they play like super rock music here at World during Halloween times. Those kind of things, the overlay. I almost wish that they would do an episode just on the overlays that they do on rides. Talk about when Jack Skellington takes over the Haunted Mansion, to the overlay of how they change certain rides during certain times of the year. I would really like that. So that was me. What about you, Pete?
I'm with you. I am probably would put this one 3rd, with Tower of Terror being the best one, and Star Tours being a little better than this one. I definitely thought it was better in the first 2 episodes. Those are to me I thought the Jungle Cruise one was the weakest. And I pretty much agree with what Derek said in terms of, sorry, I got a cat walking by. I pretty much agree with what Derek said in that, I liked most of it. I wish they'd spend a little more time on, like, because they spent a lot of time talking about like the Space Mountain that didn't happen, but they didn't really spend much time about the design of the actual one they built, the first one. So I would have liked to have seen a little more of that. I did like that they showed the Paris one, which, with the Jules Verne theme. I was glad they spent some time on that. I didn't mind a ton about the Tron thing, but that did feel like the most commercially bit since the Jungle Cruise showed clips from the movie.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
by
like,
the
hey,
way,
look,
we're building
Tron's
this ride at
coming.
Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Is
will
it,
say,
is it
So-
the same ride? Is the new
Yeah,
Tron ride
it's
at Magic
exactly
Kingdom?
the same ride.
Oh, I didn't realize it was okay. That makes a lot more sense as a commercial then. I didn't realize that the new ride at Magic Kingdom was exactly the same as that Shanghai version.
I will say that Space Mountain is the one ride I have wanted to do with the lights on. And I know that it will probably make me hate it and never want to ride it again, but that is the one ride that I have wanted to do with the lights on.
Can I give an unpopular opinion?
Yes.
I don't like Space Mountain.
Bye, Sam.
True story.
Sorry.
I didn't like Space Mountain until I had some vodka, and then I rode Space Mountain, and I've liked it ever since. So I didn't like it the first time I rode it. And then I had some vodka, and it made it better.
Yeah, it gives me whiplash. I don't like. I'm not good with rides that I can't see where I'm going. Like
that ride's the closest that a roller coaster. It doesn't actually make me sick, but I think if I rode it like three times in a row, it would probably make me sick. The Florida version, the California version, I love. I think the California version's way better, but I do like the Florida version as well.
So I agree with you, Pete. I think the California version is better. That one makes me less sick or less gives me less whiplash. But I'm just, it's neither of them are. I often skip them when it's myself, Brian, and our son. I'll just hang out with our son, and Brian will go on Space Mountain because our son is afraid to go on it. So
I do know the Disneyland one has been redone more recently. So like a complete redo on it. I don't think this Magic Kingdom one ever has. I will say Space Mountain is the one ride I laugh and giggle the entire time I ride it. It is by far my favorite ride on property.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I will tell you, Derek, you and Brian are in good company. I would say Space Mountain is probably his favorite ride, or at least in his top two. He loves that. He loves the ride. He loves he likes the California version better and loves Hyperspace Mountain, of course, but he loves both Space Mountains.
Never been to Disneyland, so nothing to compare it to. The only thing that may come close is I've ridden Rise of the Resistance once, but other than that, nothing. I mean, when I did one of the first after hours events and rode Space Mountain about 6 times and laughed every time.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's like those are the best things to do during those after hours events is, if you can get out on a ride that you like. We did that with the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in a early morning special event thing. And I think we rode Seven Dwarfs 11 times in a row.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. It was awesome. It was fantastic.
Gina says, true confession, she fell asleep during the Haunted Mansion. I'm guessing she means the episode, not the ride.
Yeah, I believe you, Gina.
Ryan does say nothing would make him happier than being shot out of a cannon. No comment on that one.
I bet Kate would like to see you get shot out of a cannon too.
I would love to see Ryan get shot out of a cannon. That'd be great.
Gina says that Space at Magic is more like the Matterhorn at Disneyland. That makes sense.
Yeah.
In terms of herky jerky, yeah.
Yeah. But I will say I have
whiplash too. Matterhorn, terrible.
Yeah. I have
Matterhorn hurts my back. I've never ridden a more uncomfortable ride.
Yeah.
I will say I actually rode Space Mountain once with my eyes closed, so it was true, and it wasn't as good. It was not as good because, to me, with the starlight, you can actually see just enough to kind of know where you're going. So, yeah. So that was Space Mountain. Now, that was not the only thing we watched this week. We also wrapped up the Mysterious Benedict Society. It had its, I'm guessing, season finale today.
Yes, I'm going to say.
For this week. Pete, I'm going to ask you, was it a great show, or was it a one that just kind of needs to, fall asleep suddenly?
Am I allowed to go with
narcolepsy?
Am I allowed to go somewhere in the middle on that? I'm like between the two. No, I guess I'll lean towards it was a great show. it was one of those shows where like I didn't love it, but I couldn't stop watching it. I wanted to see what was going to happen to the characters. I liked a lot of the characters, especially the kids. The adult characters, I wish they'd spent a little less time with at times, even though I did like Milligan. Was that his name? Milligan? So I did like him. And it's overall I really enjoyed the show. So I guess I would in the end give it thumbs up. I'm curious to hear from Sam how close it was to the book, because she read the book and it didn't make me want to read the book, but I am just curious, did they kind of stick close to the story? I said I ended up, it kind of went up and down, and by the end of it, I really wanted to know what happened, and I thought the ending was satisfying enough. I don't like that, like, oh, Curtin's gonna be the bad guy again next time, and I don't know, that part I didn't really care for that much, but overall I had a good time. What about you, Sam?
Yeah. So I knew that was coming, the Curtin being the bad guy for the next book, or the next season, I should say, because it does stick very closely to the book. I actually really enjoyed that they really followed the storyline of the book, even down to, spoiler alert, Milligan is Kate Weatherall's father. So there were I would say, could I say it's 100% to the book? I don't remember if it's that perfectly aligned, but I could say there was nothing that surprised me in that the storyline and the conclusion and all of that really did stick to the book really, really well. I really enjoyed this series. I loved the kids as well. I thought Constance Contraire has become my favorite character. I know that people didn't like her at the beginning, and that was purposeful. She was supposed to be unlikable. And Kate, the great Weatherall, was supposed to be annoying and a little bit unlikable, but she grows on you, and you see her as this loyal friend. And anyway, I really enjoyed the series. I'm crossing my fingers that they're going to do another season. I'm guessing they are, but they haven't announced it yet. The other thing I would say I liked about the series was I really liked Tony Hale as Mr. Curtin. I will say I didn't love him as Benedict, but I really thought he was a good evil Mr. Curtin, and he was the best adult character in the show. But I agree with you, Pete. The kids were really the stars, and I really liked that the kids continued to be the stars throughout the season. So all in all, I give it a thumbs up. And if they have a second season, I'm tuning in. Derek?
I'm kind of with Pete. This is tricky for me. I actually watched the entire thing this week.
Yeah.
So I binged it. Because going into this last week, I had not seen any of them. And I watched the first 2 episodes with my wife. We both wanted to know how long the book was, because we figured we could read the book faster than the show. And now we both read very, very fast. It reminded me what Harry Potter would have done with the books if they had done season shows instead of movies. There's a reason Harry Potter cut some stuff. Sam, it is incredibly close to, at least I was able to get a sample of it, and the first episode is the first chapter to 2 chapters, almost word for word.
The beginning is really, really close. The end is very close. I just can't remember if it's like 100% or 90%, because it's been a while since I read it.
Yeah, but to me, that's a problem that it was so super close, because very few movies that stick exactly to the books are as good as the books. And I would say, from what I read, if there's a season 2, I'll read the book and be able to do it instead of having to watch the show. So, Kate, what'd you think?
I mean, I was pretty outspoken about how much I liked this when it came out. I love shows that are kind of set like this, that are about peculiar children who go to a school, and sometimes there's magic involved, but there's always puzzles, and like something ominous happening. So I loved this show. That being said, I didn't like the finale, and I don't know why. I can't put my finger on why.
There's no resolution.
And it like drew it out, and then it was just like, boom, end of the episode. Like Constance thought, and maybe this was like a hashtag confused Kate thing. I don't know. But it was like, I didn't get that. I didn't get it. Like, I was like, wait, what did she do? How did she just break this? I don't understand.
Her mind is so powerful that she broke the whisper machine.
Oh, see,
by being completely contrary to it.
Exactly.
Whatever it said, she said absolutely not.
Yeah.
See, and I didn't like,
Right.
And I love things that make me think, but I don't like things that make me think so hard that I'm confused.
Fair.
So, but I liked it a lot.
Kind of threw away. They threw
Go ahead,
away a
Pete.
comment on that too. That when Curtin told Benedict, he said, "That girl's psychic, right?" And Benedict's like, "Yeah." It's like, oh, where'd that come from?
like,
You know?
That was
I didn't like that line either, Pete, because I don't actually think she's psychic. She has like some cerebral powers, but I wouldn't call it psychic. She doesn't see the future. She basically hears things that other people don't hear, and her mind is super powerful.
Yeah. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think I would really enjoy the books. So that's me.
So
yeah,
we've got a
maybe
couple.
that's
Sorry, we
sorry.
had a couple
Go
of
ahead.
comments. I just wanted to call out Ed's comment. Constance reminds me of the kids I used to call my special friends when I used to teach.
those are the
kids that
students
get in trouble
teach every day. Those are the students I teach every day.
Excellent.
And by the way, thank you, Ed, for telling Derek that he's hilarious with the disappear button when he made me disappear. And it said, but remember, Derek, with great power comes great responsibility.
Hashtag don't silence Kate.
Yeah, and don't silence Sam either.
So, of the characters, and Sam kind of touched on this a little bit, but which character, and I'm mainly thinking of the kids, but not necessarily, which character was your favorite? Kate, which character was your favorite?
This is a really hard. I actually put a lot of thought into this. This was a really hard question, and I hated Constance when the show started. You can't help but fall in love with Rainey and even Sticky. But Constance, just watching her come around, even when she looks at Kate and she says something to the extent of like, you're tolerable or something. And it was her version of a compliment. It was her version of, I like being around you and I want us to be around each other. Just kind of watching her character grow, I guess. The other three, they were very lovable. Yes, Kate was kind of annoying, but you kind of fell in love with them. Constance had to earn it for me, and she did. And to me, that not only shows great character writing, but also a superb actress, because she made me believe it. And she, just watching her evolve and figure it out, I was really drawn to her. So, Pete, what about you?
To comment on that, Constance isn't my favorite, but I will agree with you. The first episode, when she was so annoying, I also thought part of that was she was not a very good actress either. And as the show went on, I could see, I kind of saw, okay, this is where they're going with that character. And by the end, I was like, geez, actually, she's pretty good. I mean, even though it's a little bit of a one note, she did bring that along, as you say, like she had that nuance to be like, you're okay, and I gotta say my favorite was Kate, though, because like I just like that kind of character that's just like full of determination, and she wasn't necessarily the smartest one of the group, but she didn't care, and I thought the stuff with I thought her little plot line with the tetherball, I thought the whole tetherball thing was hilarious. That like, this is, it's a world where we still have America and all these other things, but like tetherball is somehow the most popular sport in the world, it seems like. And I just thought that was, you know, and any scene when they were practicing the tetherball and there were like people in the background like charting it on chalkboards how to how to win a tetherball. So that stuff I really like. So Kate would be my pick. I just, as I said, I loved her determination and I loved her little bucket. And I got to give a shout out to my daughter who called that Milligan was going to be her father, like at the beginning of the episode. She figured it out before it came out. So I don't know how she figured, because she said, "Oh, he's going to be her father," and I'm like, "What? How do you know?" And then it was, and I was like, "So, got to get her on the show soon if she's going to keep predicting the endings." So, what about you, Sam? What's your favorite character, and is it the same character that you like from the books?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say from the books, I would say Rainey is really who you fall in love with because he's really at the center of the book. I mean, he's at the center of the show, but more so in the book, you really follow him. He's your sort of main narrator and character that you follow in the book. So Rainey would be my favorite in the book, but Constance, I would say, was my favorite in this. And for all the reasons that Kate already said, I mean, not just the character and the way they wrote her, but I thought the actress was superb. And Pete, you touched on the nuance that she had, particularly in that at the end in sort of being lovable and hateable at the same time. And so, yeah, I loved her. I will say, you know, besides Tony Hale as Mr. Curtin, I forget his name, Ryan Hurst, I think actually is his name, who plays Milligan, who was on Sons of Anarchy, who was Opie in Sons of Anarchy, one of the main supporting characters. He is a fantastic actor, and I thought he was wonderful as Milligan. You know, the character is an interesting character whose brain's been wiped or clean, and so it's just an interesting character for him to play. So I liked him as well if I had to pick, you know, another one. Derek, what about you? Who was your favorite?
To me, it was Sticky. I loved Sticky because honestly, I could relate to Sticky. The one who has all this random knowledge in his brain and can pull it up as needed. The one who, you know, he's seen as, you know, someone who, you know, is a leader, but yet can't quite be the true leader of the group like Rainey. I mean, I think what he did was possibly some of the bravest by directly defying the machine there at the end, of directly saying the words in the wrong order. I will say, if I had to pick a secondary character, Kristen Shaw is number 2. I loved her as number 2. And just, that's one of those, it's not quite a throwaway character. I mean, it's definitely the comic relief, but you need that comic relief.
Mm-hmm.
And from the little bit I read of the book, she kept the same part, but really played it up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you love her as Mabel on
Gravity Falls?
Gravity Falls. Sorry, I was like
never
blanking.
Seen it.
Oh
never
my
seen
god!
It.
You need to watch.
Oh my god! You got to watch Gravity Falls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She does the voice of Mabel, and it's.
I've never watched it either, Derek.
Oh my god, you guys! It's a great 2-season show.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would definitely put it on the list. But I will say, I'm going to offer a contrary opinion. I didn't think the Constance actress had to work that hard. Nuh-uh. She only, I mean, the whole, yes, she had to, I mean, I'm sorry, it's easy to play annoying and it's easy to play contrary. No, I'm not going to do it. No. And yes, she developed a little bit over the season, but the whole, you know, her saying no and the whole thing, her fighting the machine.
No, not that part, but I just thought the way she towards the end retained that annoyingness while still becoming sympathetic to the other characters and
Right,
everything.
agreed. That's what it
I
was.
thought that
Yeah.
part was. I agree. The showdown with the machine was not hard. Was not a difficult. And I'm not saying she's a genius or anything, but I'm just saying like there was more to the role than what it appeared early on. Because I agree, like being that early part of just being obnoxious was.
I will
not
still say
hard.
she was the weakest of the 4 kids. She was the weakest actress of the 4 kids. To me.
Wow.
No, I don't think so. I disagree.
I have to say, I think I disagree on that.
They were
too.
all really good, so I don't even
all
know.
Really good. Yeah.
But I mean, to me, her character at the end was the same character. Was how she won was the same way she was when. What do you mean you gave her a roommate? I loved that line, by the way, in the opening. What do you mean you gave her a roommate? But it was the same character. Yes, she softened a little bit, but not a ton to me anyway. So
the other thing I wanted to comment on, you're talking about Tony Hale, and I agree that I think he played Curtin a little bit better, but I thought he did a really good job playing 2 different characters in his like body language and everything, that he really played them as 2 very different people. And I thought for the most part it worked. I mean, I will agree, as I said, that the Curtin character came off a little more natural to him, but I like because when he was Benedict, he was always kind of slouched and very soft spoken and like a little confused at times, even though you can clearly tell he's, I don't know, I thought he played it very well with both roles.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I don't know, you guys are convincing me that it was maybe better than I liked, so than I originally thought, but I would definitely check out another season.
Yeah.
Are we rating it?
It kept you watching, right? I mean, you said, Pete,
it did. Yeah.
You didn't love it, but you couldn't stop watching it. That says something.
If I hadn't had to, I would have stopped after probably episode 2.
Okay, well that's different though.
I also will say though, it was not a show I think worked as a binge show. So I can sympathize with Derek trying to watch the whole thing in a week, because we found watching 1 episode was good. Trying to watch 2 like right back to back, just we didn't like it as much. So we very much tried to just watch 1 episode a week, and that we found it worked much better that way. I thought it did anyway. So,
all right.
But
now,
are we rating it?
Let's rate it. Let's do our Pixie Dust ratings. Ratings out of 5 on the entire season as a show. How would you rate it? Pete, since you brought it up, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. I was originally going to say a 3, but I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect. But it isn't something I would probably revisit either. So I would say a 3.5. I would recommend it. If you like that type of show, I would tell people to give it a chance. And I mean, there's some really good parts of it. I wish it was a little more consistent across the whole thing. It might have worked better, edited down a little bit more, as Derek said, maybe because they tried to have the entire book. There were some parts where I thought it dragged a little bit, but overall, I would recommend it. So 3.5 out of 5. What about you, Sam?
I'm going to give it a 3.75. I'm stingy with my Pixie Dust. Let me say this. It's got to be really great for me to give something a 5, and it's got to be pretty great to give something a 4. This was really enjoyable, but is it like my favorite series of all time? No, I'm not going to say that. And is the book better than the TV series? Yes. I mean, but that's true of a lot of shows, a lot of movies.
Yeah.
So, that's not a criticism. It's just to say that is what it is, right? I would watch it again, but do I need to watch it again tomorrow, next week, next month? No. I might watch it again a few years in the future, but like I said, I would watch season 2. Derek, how many Pixie Cups? Pixie Dust Cups.
I'm gonna go 2.5. It's below average for me. as I said, let me read the book. I think it could have desperately used some editing. At least one, if not two episodes. It could have been pared down. Not that I'm cutting a certain episode, but I'm paring it down to a 6 episode instead of an 8 episode. At least. It's 2.5 for me. As you said, Sam, I'm not gonna revisit it. I'm not gonna go back and watch it. It's one of those, if you love, if you love the Harry Potter, if you love the Aragon series, if you love like the Magic Tree House and those kind of books, I might recommend it. I mean, am I ever going to watch season 1 again? No. So, Kate?
Yeah, I would give it like a 3.9. I'll definitely go watch it again. But I love shows like this. Shows like with Harry Potter, The Umbrella Academy, Lemony Snicket. Like I'm so drawn to shows like this. I'm very intrigued to see where they'll take season 2. I really want to go read the books. But it's not quite a 4 because I try to be stingy too, but I'm also not. But I try to be. If
anyone's stingy,
I can't give it a 4. That's true. I can't give it a 4, but it's higher than a 3.75. So it's like as close to a 4 as you can be without being a 4. That's what I'm
only stingy with my 5s. Oh. I'm only stingy with my 5s. 5 is like top notch, but hey, I hope a lot of things are 4s, because then I'm enjoying what I'm watching. But I will say again, Kate, and it is on Disney Plus, if you like this type of show, check out Gravity Falls, because it's an animated show.
Writing it down right now.
And it's definitely in that kind of like mystery. I mean, it's a kids show, but it's a kids show that adults can enjoy quite a bit. And it eventually there becomes this overarching mystery. There's also all these like codes built into the episodes, and you don't have to worry about that stuff. But because I mean, there's this big background behind it, that there was like the producer of the show like hid something somewhere, and you had to like crack the codes to go find it or something like that. But
okay, so it's a kid's show that adults will like Pixar stuff, or the plot, like it has the adult jokes in it, or it has like the plot is enough to intrigue adults. Which way, Pete? Both?
I would say both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
There's some very more so the plot, I would say. The humor can often be very, tween.
There's a lot of juvenile humor, but there is some intelligent humor as well. But I agree, the plot is really entertaining for adults because there's this overarching mystery going on, and it's
it does take a little while to get into the mystery.
Yes,
but yeah,
it's fun. We started watching it because my son wanted to watch it, and we continued watching it because Brian and I wanted to watch it. So now we just watch it whenever it's on.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of X-Files. It's and as I said, if this type of show appeals to you, I think that would be a good show to watch. And that's for anybody out there, right? Not just our co-hosts.
Not just Eric and Kate. Yeah.
Okay. Next week, we are going to be starting the What If premiere, as Kate said. It is Captain Carter. The premise is, what if Captain Carter, what if she took the super serum instead of Steve Rogers? That's the theory behind the show. So that's episode 1. We're also, the Bad Batch finale is out next week, which we will be talking about. It's really going to be a case of how is that show going to end? Because there were a lot of things that were dropped in this week's episode, like the fact that Crosshair has his chip removed and he knew it. So
I didn't see it yet. Spoiler.
Which one's Crosshair?
The one that's working for the Empire.
The one that's a bad guy.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
It's about Doctor Strange, right? Somewhere in...
Yeah. So,
and Wanda's going to come.
Please like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We are always here. We are going to be, I promise, going live on podcasts very, very soon. I would say I'm even going to put it out there within the next 2 weeks. We will be on podcasts.
Ooh.
So,
but
like
join us live on Tuesdays.
Yes, catch us live on Tuesdays at 9 Easterns. And with that, everyone, I want to say good night. So have a nice evening, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Aloha.
Bye.
Keep rubbing it in.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @PlusPlatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.